All he does is catch the football. That is beautiful. That's why I came to West Virginia, man.
Ding dong, the witch is dead in Arizona.
It's a totally energized Heinz Field, the power of the Renegade song.
The backyard brawl, man, against Pitt. Look at that. Oh, there's Ron Wolfley.
Wow! They came after Donovan McNabb, went after him, they played to win the game.
Everybody's going bonkers, even the referees.
Oh, those look like some sticky gloves right there. We talk about 50-50. Right now it's 50-50. Who's going to get it?
Game came with cover zero, man across the board.
Pick up a flag because, hey, and then with the Renegade song, even flags don't count.
He's going to get an Italian army behind him right there, just like Franco Harris.
My goodness, that is pure guts.
Give me a pepperoni roll, man.
Hi, my name's James Gamitter and I'm from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. And when I'm back home in the Pittsburgh area, you can find me at my local Par-Mar store.
We had that golden boot pride at Par-Mar. There are literally hundreds of Par-Mar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Par-Mar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Par-Mar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you.
If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Hello and welcome to the Three Wolves of Football. The boys from Orchard Park, New York. This is episode 2. Deuce. And we're so happy because we weren't sure everyone was going to let us come back this week because we just didn't know if we were going to suck or not. So, but fortunately, we had enough good reviews to say, come on back. And Par-Mar, our sponsor, was like, hey, yeah, we want you guys to come back. So Par-Mar stores, we thank you. And if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Well, I'll tell you, brothers, how we doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing fine, as you can see right now. I'm sorry. Once again, I thought we were doing this an hour later, as a matter of fact, but we're doing it right now. Suddenly, I had Stephanie walk in and say, hey, by the way, isn't this the time you guys do your podcast? And I said, no, we do it an hour later. What are you doing? And now all of a sudden, here we are. And I can tell you, I didn't have time to worry about my hair. I do have hair. I do have hair. But, I had to actually put this hat on. I look like a monk.
Oh, that's probably because you lost 18 pounds.
That could be. Notice the streamlined jaws on him. On the other hand, I've gained 18, I think. That whole COVID thing, I got to tell you something. I didn't do well in that. No. I mean, some people, they quarantined. I quarantined.
Oh, very good. And I will say,
you are the worst.
Factoid, okay? Moi, I should never be left alone with a fully stocked refrigerator, okay? Wow, that's amazing.
As I was saying, some things haven't changed since last week. You are still toothless.
Yes.
You're still missing a tooth. Although, tell the story.
I got a flipper, all right? The flipper is a stunt tooth, okay? You put that thing in. But the problem is it comes with, like the bridge and everything else. You got to put it in there. And it's like I talk with a lisp or I can't hardly talk at all, right? So I'm sitting there going, I don't need this. I don't want this, okay? And they're going, but you look better. I go, I'm on radio. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. That's great, Craig. I'm glad you take it out for this because it just feels so full.
Oh, man.
Road.
It is what it is. My bride, Faith, she promised to love me forever, so we hold her to that. There you go.
Amen.
And I do believe you are one blessed man.
Even if her sight and her sight lines are not real good.
We'll all agree to that. As we're going to move on to the first subject of the Three Wolves for this evening, the second episode. And this episode has to be set up because we were going to do the mulligan, it's usually at the end of the show. But right away, as we change things on the Three Wolves, because you just never know what's going to happen. And something happened this week that was just too good. We got to put it at the top of the show. And a couple of things are involved in this, but Pony Boy, I need you to tell everybody about your broadcasting partner, because he's got a special name that you give him, Dave Pash. But what is the special name? And he goes ahead and broadcasts with Bill Walton. He's all over ESPN. He's just top of the line.
Well, let me just say it first of all, Dave Pash. I call him David, of course. David is simply the best broadcaster I've ever been around. The guy is wildly talented. That's an understatement right there. I call him Il Bajado, which of course means the bird, because that's what he looks like. He looks like a bird. Caw, caw. He looks like a bird, but boy, is he talented. Why did you ask me that?
I wanted to ask you because I wanted to actually give people a history of what you do and your broadcast and where you are. Obviously, you broadcast the color for the Arizona Cardinals. It's great.
Yes.
You do for the Steelers. And so the thing is this. The rules were it was going to be a mulligan from the week before in the show. I've taken it that if you do anything silly or ridiculous, or you want it back from the week before, it does not have to be on the show. The rules have changed. Do you want to take it back or double down?
Are you asking me?
I am. You are the winner. That's why I had the whole setup with.
What he's doing is he's telling you you're the stupid brother of the week, okay?
I'd like to go ahead and double down, man. I mean,
okay,
I have
you're going to show it, and you're not going to get an opportunity. So I've already actually named the show for what it is tonight. It is the high five that didn't drive. Yes, you know what's coming.
Oh no.
Pretty Boy and Dave Pash in the radio booth. What is this? You claim to be an athlete.
Look, I'm telling you right now, first of all, we high-fived with our right hand at first, and it almost blew out Dave's shoulder. He blew out his shoulder high-fiving me, right? So all of a sudden the producer said, hey, do it again so I can get that. Do it again so I can get that. So we kind of faked that high five, and we had to do the left shoulder because David almost blew out his right, because he's the bird, man. That's something Il Bajado does.
Well, here's the thing. If I just saw that video without, any perspective from you on what was going on, I thought an unruly fan climbed into the booth and you were putting him in an arm lock and taking him down. You know what I mean? There you go.
If you freeze that, man, if you go ahead and look at that thing closer to, and you freeze that at the point of contact, David is looking down like this. What are you doing, David?
I thought you were putting him to the ground.
Let's be honest here. When's the last time that Pash man padded up?
Yeah.
Or did he torn up? I don't care what he was, any event. When's the last time he got on an event and went out there and put himself on the line with athletics?
That's right. You know what? That's what I'm talking about, David, right there. You might be Mr. Articulate. You might be really, really good with your vocab. You might be really good. Your voice is great, Mr. Perfect. But you know what? When's the last time you moistened a jock, David?
Oh, wow.
All right.
Wow.
Let me see. Terry, do you have anything you want to add to that? This is your opportunity.
When we start talking about jock straps, no, I'd rather not join in.
Oh, that's because we're going to picture you in a sumo outfit. That's
my
heaven. We don't want to go there.
No, we don't want to go there.
We won't have to picture because it will be coming sooner or later.
All I can tell you,
right, Soda Pop. At some point, we're showing that picture.
I remember seeing Hoopy's face when I took my sweatsuit off, and I'm standing there in a big oversized diaper. Let me tell you something, man. That was just, it was not cool. It was not cool. Well, actually, it was a little cool. A little breezy.
I'll tell you what was cool, though, because that was at the Playboy Mansion Hotel, and there's all these little bunnies running around with ears and stuff. So, I mean.
Yeah, you were riding up and down the elevator, weren't you?
I was young. I was very young.
Very young.
I was chasing around. Okay, moving along now quickly. We have to get to this because the Bills played Monday night. 41-7. They just put an absolute thrashing on the Tennessee Titans. And so the question is this, and all the pundits are saying, hey, are they the best duel? When I say the best duel, I'm talking Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. So if all the pundits are saying, I want to know what these two pundits in front of me are thinking about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. You see, that's a 47-yarder. He's going to throw it up. Take it from here. Derry, go ahead. You're first.
Well, you thing that you love right off the fact is, you got a little play action fake, and then you got Stephon Diggs just outrunning everybody to the end zone. What a perfect pass from Josh Allen. It's amazing when you see a guy that's so in tune with his quarterback, and that quarterback can hit him 40, 50 yards down the field and hit him on the fly. It's just amazing. And I think it's even more amazing when you consider that, Josh Allen is capable of covering that distance with his feet as well as his arm.
What's incredible about that as well? That's the post dig right there. The post in the dig route, the deep in route coming underneath it. Look at Josh Allen and the way he looked that safety off, and he froze that safety in the middle of the field right there. And you've got Stephon Diggs coming over the top, that dig route coming in, ironically enough, no pun intended. Look at Josh Allen. Totally looking it off, and then there's the post over the top with that safety biting, man. That was huge right there. And once again, this is why I love the Buffalo Bills. This is why I think the Buffalo Bills are a legitimate Super Bowl contender, if not the Super Bowl favorite right now. It's because offensively, they can be whatever they need to beat you. They can be whatever they need. Oh, you want to get in a dogfight? You want to get in a brawl because your front seven is not good? It's not very physical? Hey, the Buffalo Bills can line up and attack the line of scrimmage as well as anybody in the National Football League now. They proved that last year, as a matter of fact. They proved that they could morph, and that's what they did. Their offense morphed into a more power scheme last half of last season, and right now they can do that. If you want to get in a brawl, they can do that. If you have a secondary that is weak, they'll spread you out and throw the ball. They can do whatever they need to do to beat you. And that, guys, I got to tell you, that is the magic of Coach Belichick. That is Bill Belichick and his philosophy as well. We need to have a team that is capable of being whatever we need to be to beat you.
I just chime in. I just wanted to chime in right at the end and ask, I wonder if he audibled at the line of scrimmage when he sees the safeties, right? And he called blue cheese. I mean, blue cheese. What a great audible.
Why blue cheese?
What's that?
Blue cheese. You're saying that's what he called, right? You're not.
I'm just saying. I wondered if he did because it was known that he made one of the audibles that he yelled out was a blue cheese. I love that.
Well, we know you do it, but the only problem is we're trying to save your other teeth right now. So if you were following for the past week, you would know that the reason why Craig has a tooth missing is because Chicken Wing took it out. So we're trying to make sure you maintain your other teeth, at least until you get this one fixed.
Which soda pop, too. We have to touch on this right now. Anyone that is out there and you love wings, first of all, they're buffalo wings, and they're served one way. Okay, there is no barbecue stuff. There is no teriyaki. There's none of this other kind of. There's a buffalo wing, and a buffalo wing is Frank's hot sauce. That's what it is. Period. It's Frank's. There's nothing else added to it. There's nothing else. And oh, by the way, you better be dipping it in blue cheese. If you're a Buffalo boy, you better be dipping it in blue cheese.
Hey, all I can tell you, fellas, when I got to Syracuse University, I had my first physical, and the doctor told me that my blood was 40% chicken fat.
Okay, well, listen.
At least your coach didn't say you were 40% chicken.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, we know that wouldn't be. Trust us on that one. But moving back to the Bills now, because I love the way you guys talk so much because you give me time to set up the next plays. All right, so
good.
Thank you for being long-winded. I really appreciate it. But there's the Bills' run game, okay? Their run game. We all know about their defense and Von Miller and the sacks that they had, the pressure and what they can do. But does the run game take the Bills, you touched on this a little bit earlier, Pony Boy, does it go ahead and vault them to the next level to the Super Bowl possibly?
Yeah. No, this is the way I feel about the Bills, man. I mean, they can do it any way that they need to do it to beat you. They can line up and they can be physical at the point of attack, and they can hold up. They can put Josh Allen under center, and they can run and attack the line of scrimmage and then go ahead. Look at this. They have a fullback. I mean, all that is toss. That is one of the earliest plays they ever drew up in the book. And, they put it in an eye, the offset eye, whatever it may be. This is what the Bills can be. Look at him. He's under center.
Under center.
Blend the old with the new. This is the NFL today, blending the old with the new. Shotgun, spread, they can do it all.
No question about it. I love in our vernacular back in the day, that was a toss 28 crack. 29 crack. And you got to seal that inside. But when the tackle leads around, he gets out there and you see him eyeballing that corner because the support comes up. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, like a rampaging rhino, he runs over that corner. And you know what I love about it? This is old school. What did he do? He gored him after he knocked him down. That's the purview of an offensive lineman. That's the way to go down the field. You get that block, you knock him down, then you gore him. A good goring is great family fun. We've all
Craig, you're just so violent, Craig. You're just so, oh my goodness.
What first attracted us to this game, fellas?
Yeah, exactly. You're terrifying mothers right now, Craig. All right, I just
and not just with the toothless grin.
Even though, yes, with the toothless grin, even though I will tell you right now, and I'll move up really close so you can see this, that's football.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't like it, get out.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. And we're going to be talking about rivalries tonight or a little bit later in the show. But let me move on here, okay? Because this right here is a question for the both of you. But I got to hear this from you, Pony Boy, because it's so close to personal to you. Is the fullback position back in the NFL?
Yes, it truly is, because coming into this season, as a matter of fact, I believe, Soda Pop, there were 22. I counted 22 fullbacks on rosters of 32 teams. That actually was up from 17 a year ago. So you tell me how that is trending right now. I think people are realizing, I really do. I think the brightest minds in the NFL are realizing there's got to be a blend. There's got to be a combination. I say it all the time, but Craig, I'd be very interested to get your take on this. There's got to be a blend of these new elements, of course, that are profound and explosive. There's got to be a blend of that and the ability to line up and still play the game of football. After all, once again, why wouldn't you want to be whatever you needed to be to beat the defense in front of you?
Well, that's the whole thing. A lot of people are sitting out there and saying, what's our identity? Your identity is whatever they call in the huddle. All right, that's it. It's as simple as that. You get the job done in whatever shape, way, form, manner that you need to do. And if that's running the ball, or if that's passing the ball, if that is with an I formation, you got lead back and you got something going on there, or the fact of the matter is if it's you get the quarterback runs with the ball like Josh does, when he gets gallivanting about there with some of the predetermined runs that he runs. That's what you do, and you've got these air raid offenses and stuff like that. I don't even know how the guys up front can handle it, because I used to like to get a little air in between the plays. You suck a little wind, but come on. These guys are just going. It's rather amazing. But at the same time, there's times when it's not clicking, it bogs down. You better have the ability to get some four-wheel drive and be able to run the ball, especially when you get to like Northeast December football.
Right.
That's when the problem can really show up. If you are a dome team, if you're one of those Southern teams and you got to end up doing a little December Northeast football, you got some problems if you can't run the ball.
what I really love about this, and I think you both talk about it so good and you know it so well, but it is a blend. It is taking the old, well, I would say taking the new and then reverting back to some old and getting, because you know what? It really drives me nuts when it's 4th and inches and I see the quarterback in a shotgun. Shotgun, and I had the ball up. So I'd say, listen, just get up there, run a quarterback sneak, take the fullback, run the dive, do whatever. Back in your day, Craig, it would be a trap. It would be an old 3 technique trap, right? With the guard going across. Whatever you have to do, get up there and smash it. And I'm going to tell you one more pet peeve that I have, and then I'm going to let this go. But it's this. 3rd and short, 4th and short. Mike Jacobs, we went 11-0 with the WVU, West Virginia University, with him as the offensive coordinator, him as my offensive line coach. He would say, you know what? 3rd down and short, 4th down and short. Major Harris, you get up there and you go on first sound. You go on first sound. You get up. You're only in your stance for a short, brief of time. You identify, and first sound, you go to get off the ball. How many legal procedures do we see at critical down situations? How many guys jump off because they got some motion going across on 4th and inches? Listen, I got inches. I want you to go be a man and go give me those inches on the football field. Okay, so I got a motion across.
Jeepers.
And then go ahead.
Boy, you are fired up about this, Soda Pop.
Got a rant.
Get some guy up there. Okay, here we go. Brown, 80. Brown, 80. Okay.
Here's the problem with the first sound. No. Here's the problem with the first sound. We'd play the Raiders. I used to have a pretty good running battle all the time with Matt Millen, who was just a great Penn Stater and a great Oakland Raider and so forth. So we'd run to the line of scrimmage. You get your 2-point stances. You're waiting for the first sound. And all of a sudden, just before the quarterback comes up, before Bradshaw comes up the center, I hear Matt going, hey, Wolfie boy, you're looking a little tense going on the first sound, are you?
Well, that's what you got to try to disguise, brother.
I wasn't a good actor there.
What was amazing about that is how many defensive linemen would look at the weight that you had on your hand in your 3-point stance. How many defensive linemen used to do that? He's heavy, right? I mean, you could just see it when the blood was being pushed out of your fingertip. He's heavy. Here it comes.
That's so funny from you, Pony Boy, because every stance of yours was heavy. Your nose was like 2 inches off the ground, leaning forward. You're in the leaning tower of Pisa before you even started out.
That's because I had one chance and one chance only, and that was to get on the guy I was going to hammer as quick as I possibly could and surprise him. Otherwise, it was going to be tough at the point of attack.
We got to tell a story, and Derry, I want you to talk about Brother Tunch. He passed away recently.
Oh yes. That's our brother Tunch Ilkin, who, we were both drafted together back in 1980. As I always reminded Tunch, I was the 5th round draft pick. He was just a 6th round draft pick, But regardless, the fact was he got cut his rookie year. So he comes back the second year after they brought him back his rookie year after about 6 weeks. But in training camp, he developed this problem of acid flowing into his stomach. I mean, it was really bad, really gnarly, right? So about halfway through practice, all of a sudden you hear this, and you knew that Tunch was about to fire a hose. All right. This wasn't when he threw up. It wasn't like a little. This was like, man, it was a hose. Okay. So you knew, just get out of the way. Okay. So we go to Cleveland. Back in the day in preseason, we played the Browns and twice during the regular season. So Tunch and I get in. I go in for Sam Davis at left guard. Tunch goes in at center for the legend Mike Webster, right? So we're in the huddle, and Cliff Stout calls a toss 33 trap. Now that's me and Tunch double teaming on the nose guard. Now the nose guard is sitting right on Tunch's nose. He's about 3 inches off of Tunch's nose, right? So he calls the play, the 3 trap. We go to the line of scrimmage. I hear Tunch on the way to the line of scrimmage. He goes, I was like, whoa, this is going to percolate here. So I get my 2-point stance, right? Stouter comes up and goes, blue 37. Shut! You put your hand in the dirt, and all of a sudden you hear Tunch go, oh. I think to myself, this is about to get interesting. At the snap of the ball, two things happen. Tunch snaps the ball backwards to Stouter and then vomits straight in the face of the nose tackle. And I mean, it was chunkage, boys. It was unbelievable. Now, what happens? The dude is about 6'4", 315 pounds. He just caught a fire hose of sausage and grits and stuff like that. Hit him right in the face. He screams and stands up. Oh, that's the best double team we ever had. We took that dude back 10 yards and slammed him. I got to tell you, it was so bad. No, nobody's watching that's eating dinner while they're watching this. But the dude actually had a sausage that was stuck in his face, man.
Come on.
I'm telling you, I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth, okay? We go back to the huddle, and you know Stouter, right? Cliff Stout, right? Great buddy, all right?
Yeah.
And Stouter's standing there. He watched the whole thing. He looks at Tunch, and Tunch is coming back, and he's like, oh, like this. And he goes, Tunch, hey, that's pretty good. We gained 10 yards on that one. He goes, how much did you eat at pregame? He goes, let's run it again.
That's sick. Oh, my
It
God.
was. That's exactly what the nose tackle said to Tunch.
You know, and I know this for you, Soda Pop, but you know, if that would have hit me, I'd have barfed all over the place myself. That would have set off a chain reaction. There was no way I would have been done.
How could you say that when you're the guy that has to put up napkins over your food because you're worried that like flies at the family get gathering? You know, it's kind of like, you know, did you make this, Mom? Okay, you know, because I'm not sure if you don't know who made the food, you're not going to eat it. And then you have the napkins and the flies out. I wouldn't believe that.
You know why I do that? You know why I do that, Soda? Because I don't want you coming over and leaning over me and talking and spewing all over my food.
You know,
that's a joke.
I'm waiting for that moment when Ronnie has a conversation like with the Jeff Goldblum fly, you know, from the movie The Fly, you know, when he gets turned into a fly. It's like, hey, bam.
All righty. Now, we have some football once again to get back to, and we're going to go ahead with the Arizona Cardinals because Pony Boy, for 6 quarters, I thought the Cardinals were a little dead this year, and I was kind of really worried about them. Maybe still am. I don't know. But obviously, Kyler Murray gets going, man. He's a bit of a freak.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, Soda Pop. I mean, this play right here, this is the 2-point conversion right here. He ran 85 yards and got it across in a critical situation, a 2-point conversion they had to have in the fourth quarter. And you can see him right here. I mean, this is 4-3. That's what it is. And that's Kyler, and that's what he's capable of doing. Kyler Murray is wildly talented, guys. His gifts are incredible. His leg talent is special. His arm talent is special. It's kind of like I think of two ends of the spectrum. Lamar Jackson on one end, guys, and Patrick Mahomes on the other end. Those two guys right there. I think Kyler is a blend of those two guys. He's got incredible arm talent like Pat Mahomes, and he's got the ability to pull the ball down and make plays like Lamar Jackson with his legs. He's just a nightmare when it comes to the skill set. He's got to continue to improve in terms of his preparation for games. He's got to continue to improve and mature in terms of his leadership. But when it comes to his physical abilities, and you know, it takes body, soul, and spirit to play the game of football. And right now, Kyler's maturing in all those areas.
Hey, Derry, what are you thinking as an offensive lineman, Derry?
Would you do something, please? Throw the ball, you know, run the ball in, but please, you know, somebody's got to stop the agony. Me and some dude are going at it, and we're pummeling each other, right? And the quarterback's back there dancing around. He's doing the fandango all by himself. And at some point in time, you know, one of us got to get some relief here, okay? Me or the defensive dude, all right? I mean, that's just the way it is. We were in Houston one time. I'll just give one. We went in Houston. We went on a 13-minute drive in the second quarter. 13 minutes, I tell you, okay? It was unbelievable. we'd go forward, a few reps and go backwards and get the first down. We get down to the 1 yard line and we get tackled on the half-yard line, right? The guy that's playing over, because we didn't sub much back then, if you remember. He staggers up, and we look at each other. He looks at me and goes, well, you guys either got to score or fumble, but we got to end this. This is agony.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And I think for all the offensive linemen watching the zip dude dies, he's going back and forth. It would be like, oh, please just score or do something.
Yeah, guys, also, I just got to say this because it's so relevant to this game. That was the biggest comeback at the half in franchise history. We're talking about 0-90-1. That was the record of the St. Louis Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, when they trailed by 20 or more points at the half. Think about that, okay? This was the biggest comeback at the half. It was the biggest comeback of the organization in its history. And Kyler Murray was right in the middle of it. That's the kind of leadership you need because, as you guys know, leaders do first before they say.
Good point.
So I'm going to think before I say this, but I'm going to say probably you experienced quite a few of those 0-90 games. I think.
Okay, wait a minute now. You know what? If you're going to do that, just give me the protective cup and let me slide it in first, Soda Pop. I mean, give me a break.
Oh, my goodness. I did give you a break, but I gave you a chance with Pash. All right, so we're going to move on with Kyler Murray because watching the game, I'm like, yeah, this is huge. This is awesome. Cardinals win. I'm like, Ronnie's got to be so happy. I flip on my Twitter, and there you are. Hey, you got to report this. This is terrible. And I'm like, what is going on? And what's happening, man? It's Kyler Murray.
Whack. Yeah. You're talking about that right there. It was very interesting. No, I was fired up because that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback, man. I mean, that right there. Kyler played it off today. Can I tell you that? Kyler, I thought, took the high road when he talked about this and said, hey, because he thought, obviously, he did it on purpose. And maybe when you go back and look at it, he was just trying to high five and hit Kyler in the face.
That was actually my impression. That's the first I've seen of it. But when I looked at it, to me, it looked like the guy was simply trying to basically touch greatness, right? There's that moment, that the fan wants to transcend being a fan, and that moment they want to join in for that excitement that just occurred right in front of them. So
yeah, what are you shaking your head for, Soda?
Number one, he was in Raider gear, so that's
right.
Was he?
And number two is maybe he was just trying to imitate you and Pash.
That was great.
Listen, once again, I gave you the inside story on that. All right, I mean, it was a left-handed.
And guess what? People are listening, or we hope that.
Listen.
If we're 2 weeks in a row without sucking.
I was just really, really proud of Kyler Murray once again. He chose to take the high road. And in that situation, boys, me, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but, my mushroom cloud, the temper, when I was his age, they'd have been pulling me out of the stance at that point in time. And I'm embarrassed to say that. But that was my mentality, and yet Kyler, I think, handled it really, really well.
Very well, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think so. But let's just make this clear. Sophomore year at Oklahoma Sooners, you were in the stands fighting with the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, just so you remember, Cody. You were in the stands fighting with some Sooners. Well, they did talk about Hoopy, our mother.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. No, there was that right there. And I was climbing the fence. Sorry, Don Nalen, but I was climbing the fence. I needed to get my pound of flesh right there. But I can also tell you, too, that, man, I couldn't stand that. I don't know about you, Craig, but for whatever reason, I could not block out fans. When fans would say something, I would have to retaliate. I'd have to say something back because of this stupid brain of mine, the temper that I have. All the veterans used to tell me all the time, Wolf, knock it off. Knock it. Don't engage these people. That's exactly what they want. Trolls. That's what they were. There's trolls in every paradigm. And I don't know about you, Craig, if you could ignore them or not, but I sucked at it.
Well, it all depended. I will say this, in my younger days, a little bit harder. As I got older, some of it was kind of funny. I remember being, in the Meadowlands, we're waiting to come out onto the field, and there's this one Giants fan that's going, "Hey, 73, you're fat." It was so funny, and I looked at him and I go, yeah, I may be fat, but I can lose weight. But you're ugly. There's no hope for you.
Hey, I got it.
He got all like, well, he didn't think I'd say anything. It was just so funny. It was an awkward moment.
I got to tell you this story quickly because I thought it was so funny. It was, I believe it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. Cliff Kingsbury in his third year, and he came out, and I believe we were in Seattle. And he came out, and some fan, you're in the tunnel and you're getting ready to run out. And this is just the humility of Cliff. I love Cliff because he's really smart, and yet he's humble. And that's a rare combination, I think. You both would agree with me on that, to be smart and humble. But Cliff comes out, this fan leans out over the rail, and he says, "Cliff Kingsbury drinks White Claw." and Cliff was looking down, and he looked up, and he got this big grin on his face. That was pretty good.
Because I know back from his former days with Dana Holgerson, them living in the same apartment, he didn't drink White Claw. But hey, moving along.
Moving along.
And Mitch Trubisky. Problems with Steelers offense just after week 2, a victory. Wildest, a great overtime victory against the Bengals, and having issues this week. What is going on with arguing, saying he can't throw over the middle because the plays are not being called? Mitch came out today and said that he's not really getting a chance to audible. Got George Pickens saying he was open 90% of the time. What is happening in Steeler Nation?
Well, it's real simple. I mean, basically, as I said, people are trying to figure out the roles. They're carving out their workloads, the things that they're able to do. Look, this really came down to the fact that we didn't run the ball very well. And here's the thing. When I look at it this way, Mac Jones came into this game with an interesting stat, okay? The Patriots in the Mac Jones era are 8-0 when they win the battle of turnover, all right? They're 1-1 when they tie, and they're 1-8 when they lose the battle of turnovers. Well, guess what? The battle of turnovers was 2-1 in favor of the Patriots. Mac Jones is now 9-0 in the battle of turnovers. As far as what's going on with the offense, they're still trying to figure out the running game and get that going. Some of the passing game has not been where you want it. But, here's the thing about it. Things have to be sorted out. And you got a good month or so before you really understand who needs to do what. And these things work themselves out as the offense comes together. No, he's not been thrown over the middle. He threw an interception when he threw one over the middle. All right. He's not thrown the long ball too much. I think, it's just, again, the process of putting this thing together. And, when you lose a TJ Watt, okay, you lose the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year. So the thing you don't want to do is put your defense in bad positions by throwing the ball too much, and they just didn't simply back enough people off. It'll come. It takes some time. They've got to figure out how to win without TJ because they were 0-4-1, without him until the Patriots game, and now they're 0-5-1. So it's a process too of learning what they got to do defensively to be able to counteract the loss of the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
It doesn't help when you got Kenny Pickett back there, who's a hometown favorite,
Right.
led preseason, and he's going to be good. You just don't know if you really want to let him go as a rookie. Hey, boy, you put out a tweet today. It was about your old coach, Jim Hannafin, go ahead, Pony Boy.
That's all right. Jim Hannafin was the head coach of the then St. Louis Cardinals, of course, in 1985 when I was a rookie. And I have to tell you, absolutely, the love that I have in my heart for this man, just seeing the picture of him, once again, it reminds me of him. I only had him as my head coach for a year, and I can tell you right now, it was just unbelievable, some of the things that would happen. The passion and the love that Jim Hannafin had for the game of football and the physicality of football is second to none. It truly is. And I remember my rookie year, we were playing the Washington Redskins at the time. That's what they were called. And we were playing them on Monday night in Washington. And you guys know Monday night, oh my goodness, that's a long day. That Monday is a long day as you're waiting to play. That's back when they'd start Monday Night Football at 9 o'clock. Do you remember that? Oh, yeah. 9 o'clock on the East Coast. And it was a long, long day. And Jim Hannafin came up with the idea that we were going to watch Rambo. We were going to show Rambo First Blood. We were going to show that movie during the day to try to eat some time up. You know, you couldn't meet all day, obviously. And meals only took so long. So after lunch, he had this room, this conference room set up as a theater, basically, and we watched First Blood. Well, I went down to get a snack, and as I walked in, there was nobody in the room except Jim Hannafin. Jim Hannafin was sitting in the front row of this conference room. Nobody else was watching the movie but Jim Hannafin, Rambo, First Blood. And I walked in, guys, to get a snack, and Hannafin's sitting in the front. And every time Rambo killed somebody, Hanny went, holy, that mother bleeper right there. Do you believe that guy? He's looking around. He's so into the movie, wrapped up. Rambo's just waylaying people, and Hanny's that mother right there, right? So anyways, that night, Jim Hannafin is up in front of the team. This is our pregame speech before we go out onto the field and play the Redskins. And Hanny had a habit of getting very, very emotional when he got up in front of the team, almost like a Dan Campbell, as a matter of fact. And Hanny was up there and he was saying, I want us to go out there and play the greatest game we've ever played tonight. I want us to play like we are the toughest people on the face of the – You know what I want out there tonight? I want 45 bleeping Rambos. For me, I don't know if anyone else got it because I was the only one in there in that snack room watching Hanny sit in the front row. And he was so into it right there. But that was Jim Hannafin. He wanted those Rambos on his team, and I loved playing for him. And the thought of
nobody told him that it was a fictitious character, right?
Right. You know what I want out there tonight? I want 45 bleeping Rambos. That was great.
That reminds me of the story, Jerry, that you told about playing Pitt and Tony Dorsett the day before and watching Rocky in the theaters, and then Pitt going out and blowing you guys out the next day because you were hey Rocky.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't really translate over to us.
I think Tony Dorsett had 213 yards that game.
The thing about it was, I remember with Tony Dorsett, we held him to what was it like minus 25 yards rushing or 15 yards in the first quarter, and then he ran for 250 in the next three.
Hey, it was a good quarter, but
can you feel that, buddy? Huh?
As I'm leading in here, speaking of good things, I tell you, this is like herding cats. This is Caliente's Pizza. Every time I listen to Steelers Radio Network every week, every other commercial is Caliente Pizza with you. And you get up there and you're like, Caliente Pizza Draft House. It's the greatest thing in the world, man. Go ahead. Still in front.
You come here and we'll go to Caliente's. You see the owner there, and Nick Bogetz. He's there with Ryan Shazier, and he donated quite a sum of money to Ryan Shazier. But that's not the story of this guy. Nick Bogut's, he was working like 2 or 3 jobs as a teenager to get his own pizza shop going. I mean, this guy here, he brings pizzas down to the Light of Life Rescue Mission on the North Shore, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. He's got a great heart. He pours life into other people. And his pizzas are absolutely ridiculously good. I mean, they are really terrific. And he's just been a great supporter of a lot of good things here, like Ryan Shazier's foundation and, of course, Light of Life and some other things that he does. And I will tell you, the secret sauce, too, at the Calientes, their burgers are outstanding. Oh, baby, yeah. That's where a fat guy goes for fun.
We're going to go ahead and look at this here. This is me with the
Wait a minute. Does he look like he's posing? Oh, excuse me while I put the pecs up here a little bit.
How about that, Craig? I mean, honestly, okay, hey, we're gonna we're moving along right here. We got something. This is me.
Yeah, and I'm looking. Dale's sitting there going, "This is me," and I'm looking better than 10 movie stars. Okay.
Okay. Enough in the picture. The picture is off. And I just put that up there because this is about rivalries. You got the Steelers and the Brownies, and you got, of course, the Cardinals and the Rams. But Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Pony Boy, talk to me about Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and what it means. Because right now people aren't getting it because they went to the ACC and they kind of separated it. And I don't think too many people understand the absolute disdain we have for Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Mountaineer.
Yeah, right. The turkeys, the gobblers, Virginia Tech, of course. Yeah, the Hokies. Listen, I have respect in my heart for their program because back when we played them, and we played them every year, and it was a fist fight, man. That's back when they had Jesse Penn. I don't know if you remember Jesse Penn, the outside linebacker. They also had Bruce Smith. Do you happen to recall the name Bruce Smith?
Ryan Joviak does.
Yes. We're talking about just one of the greatest football players ever to play the game. Defensive end, of course, for the Buffalo Bills, the legendary Hall of Famer Bruce Smith. We had some absolute knockdown dragouts, and I'll never forget what it was like to fly into Blacksburg. I don't know if you remember Soda Pop. You played them, right? Yep. What it was like to get into Blacksburg. It was not easy, and that plane flight coming in, man, you were you were holding on to your butt and grabbing that seatbelt and slapping it on, even though it was a charter, man. Because it might have gotten a little hairy going in there. The wind was really, really bad. But yeah, this is fantastic. West Virginia's doing it right once again. Whoever's making the schedule, they need to continue.
There you go. Very good. Well, we got to move on. So, hey, Derry, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the Steelers-Browns because what a rivalry. When you talk rivalries, it's got to be that, and it's got to be the James Harrison going after a fan and giving him a body move from WWE.
I remember this move so clearly. I was actually probably about 8 to 10 yards away from that, on the sidelines. I was doing the sidelines for the game, at that point in time. And it was so funny because this guy came caterwauling all the way across the field. You don't see as it look, James just comes up, but this guy came all the way across the field, and you know how it ticks you off because you're playing a game. Get the heck off the field, okay? We want to play the game and everything. So here James comes up and he gives him a nice little seat belt ride, right to the ground. And the best part about it was that guy ended up going to jail, okay? But it was Christmas weekend, so there was no judges. So he spent the whole weekend in jail. Oops. I didn't quite think this one through. Let me see. Christmas weekend, and then maybe, I'm going to have to stay here. What, really? Boy. Yeah, you're talking about a bad Christmas.
Well, Craig, yeah, I guarantee you right now, it wasn't the gray matter that was thinking. It was the gray goose that was thinking.
Yeah, more like it. Yeah, yeah. That was rather amazing. But that's James Harrison, man. You know, he's a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, he's up for possible, you know, the Hall of Fame where they start whittling it down. You know, he's one of those guys. I think he's definitely got to be a Hall of Famer someday.
Well, he sure did hurt the Cardinals in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, you're gonna bring that up right now. You got the unmitigated balls to bring that up right now.
All right. Well, listen, what is going to happen with the Steelers Browns? Quick.
I missed that. I was laughing at Ronnie.
What's going to happen to the Steelers and Brownies?
Oh, hey, here's the thing about it. It all comes down to the running game with the Browns. These guys are unbelievable. They possess the ball about 35 minutes, all right, during the game. They've outrushed the Steelers by over 250 yards. This is a team that can, with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they can take that ball, and you might not see it till the second half if they get the opening kickoff. I mean, they just keep running the ball and grinding. This is an offensive line I really appreciate because it's a throwback line to the days of yore when trap blocks, when power blocking, the man schemes, walking a guy off the line of scrimmage, throwing a man down, goring him, all those things. This is a very physical offensive line, and the Steelers are going to really have to pay close attention to their technique, their fundamentals, and be able to muster some defense in the absence of course, TJ Watt. And that's going to be problematic. So how they go about it, number one, I got to tell you this too. You got to possess the ball. The best defense is a good offense that keeps their offense off the field. And the Steelers are going to have to do that. But the problem is they've not found, right, the key formula yet for them to be able to execute their offense to their liking. So, again, on a short week, I know one thing. If you lost in a game like the Steelers lost Sunday, it's nice to have a quick turnaround.
Good stuff with the Steelers and Brownies. But now, it's rivalry now for the Cardinals and the Rams. And unfortunately, you know, with last year's playoff game, the Rams have had the Cards number. And actually, since 2017, the Rams have outscored the Cards 2-1. 2-1.
Yes. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it, Soda Pop. This has been the nemesis of Cliff Kingsbury and the Cliff Kingsbury era. The Arizona Cardinals are 1-6 if you count the playoff game as well, which we all have to count the last time these two teams met. It was in the playoffs, January of 2022, of course, but it was the 2021 season. And we all know how that ended for the Rams with a Super Bowl championship. They're 1-6 in the Cliff Kingsbury era and Kyler Murray era. That's how much the Rams have owned the Arizona Cardinals, especially at State Farm Stadium where they're going to play. The Rams have never lost in the Cliff Kingsbury era with Sean McVay as their head coach at State Farm Stadium. So the task is clear for the Arizona Cardinals, and you have to start when you talk about the Rams with what happened last year in the postseason and how badly the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray got beat in that game. Kyler looked jittery in the pocket. The entire team looked nervous, as a matter of fact. They went out and they played that way as well. And there's no doubt about it, the Rams took it to them. Well, it's funny because in the Chiefs game, Dave Pasch, Il Pajaro, of course, the play-by-play man for the Arizona Cardinals, was making the observation that this looked like an extension of 2021. It looked how the Cardinals finished the season at 1-5 in 2021 and then lost in the postseason, as I said, to the Rams, and it looked like an extension of that. Well, the first half of the Raiders game where they were down 20-0, they scored no points in the first half and gave up 20. That looked like the extension of 2021 as well. And then that second half happened, and Kyler Murray happened, and the defense actually showed up. There's no expectation for the defense, yet they showed up, and they played great and only gave up 3 points in that second half to the Rams. And it was the combination of Kyler and that defense that allowed them to tie the game up and go into overtime, where Byron Murphy picked it up and scored.
All right. Now that was all nice. Can we eat a brownie? I mean, come on. Can we eat a brownie? I've been waiting all day.
What brownie are you talking about? Are you no.
You see that little magic box that Pony's got.
Yeah, he's got it backwards, as a matter of fact. So all I know is this right here. I've never had a brownie that melts in your mouth. Have you guys? I mean, I've never had a brownie that melted in your mouth. And that, what are they, fairy tale brownies? Is that what it is?
Fairy tale brownies.
Oh, my goodness.
Brownies.com. Fairy tale brownies. They're right in your neck of the woods there, Pony Boy. Jerry, what was your favorite?
Everyone in the box.
They do come in assorted flavors.
They do.
They're out here. You can see here. I have espresso nib. And
I have a walnut. All right. And I had the cheesecake one, which was outstanding. Let me tell you something. That was so good.
So wait a minute. You guys got the brownies? You're reading the brownies right now.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yours.
I left my brownie raspberry swirl. The raspberry swirl. But I got to tell you guys, all of it, I was blown away. Seriously. You put the brownie in your mouth, it starts dissolving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just say this. Okay. The brownie, first of all, that's good stuff. But
it is.
You order it in 2 days. Next day delivery, 2 days, right from Arizona. It's all online. It's brownies.com. Listen, this is for your birthday. I ordered this, Pony. It's an early birthday present for you. You order for birthdays. Yeah. What about your tailgates on Saturdays and Sundays? Or what about Thursday nights for the Virginia Tech game? Maybe a little bit late for that, but you can think about it. What about, of course, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then you got the playoff games, and then you got the grand finale of the Super Bowl. I mean, this is what fairy tale brownies are. Order them. They last 7 days in a shelf or 30 days in a refrigerator, and they're really doggone good.
They are good. Matter of fact, when you have the little squares, they're great because I can slide them right through my tooth, and I don't even have to.
Yeah, not only that, too. You could go ahead, Craig. You can get some caliente pizza. You can get some caliente pizza and then actually follow it with a little fairy tale brownie.
All right, fellas. So brownies.com, fairy tale brownies. Again, they last forever. In the
Not around me, they don't.
Well, except around you, brother. And, now Pony Boy, he's lost 18 pounds, so he's probably worried about his figure. So that's it. Hey, the Three Wolves, episode number 2. It will come out on Thursday tomorrow, which is Wednesday today. So we're filming it. All right. And
what are you doing? You got the brownie caught in your throat.
I got it in my mouth. And the best thing of all, brothers, I really appreciate the both of you. The Three Wolves of Football, the boys from OP, episode number 2. The high five that did not arrive.
That stinks.